Hello, and welcome to the Mindful Zone. I'm so glad you're here today. This is a space where we explore tools and practices that can help us live more peacefully, intentionally, and joyfully. Today we're diving into something truly transformative, a journey through Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. These ancient teachings have been guiding people toward inner peace for thousands of years, and they hold incredible wisdom for modern life. Whether you're new to these ideas or already on your own path of self-discovery, this video is designed to meet you exactly where you are. Life can feel overwhelming sometimes, can't it? There's always so much going on. Work deadlines, family responsibilities, endless to-do lists. We often find ourselves rushing from one task to the next, barely taking a moment to pause and breathe. And when we do stop, our minds are still racing, replaying past conversations or worrying about what's ahead. Does any of this sound familiar? If it does, know that you're not alone. Many of us struggle with stress, anxiety, and the feeling that we're just not living fully in the present moment. But here's the good news, there's a way out of this cycle. By learning to master your thoughts, you can create a sense of calm and clarity that stays with you no matter what's happening around you. That's what we'll be exploring together over the next 2 hours. Through the lens of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, we'll uncover practical tools you can use every single day to reduce stress, improve your well-being, and connect more deeply with yourself and the world around you. Now, before we dive in, let me take a moment to set the tone for our time together. This isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's an experience. As we go through each chapter, I encourage you to engage fully. Take notes if you'd like, but also allow yourself to simply listen, reflect, and absorb. There will be pauses throughout where you can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and really feel the teachings come alive within you. Think of this as a guided exploration, a chance to slow down, tune in, and give yourself the gift of presence. We'll begin with the basics, grounding ourselves in the core principles of Buddhism. From there, we'll move into meditation, a practice that might seem simple, but has profound effects on both body and mind. Then we'll explore mindfulness, which is all about bringing awareness to the present moment, whether you're eating, walking, or even washing dishes. Along the way, we'll touch on topics like impermanence, compassion, and letting go of ego, all powerful concepts that can shift how you see yourself and the world. And don't worry if some of this feels unfamiliar. You don't need to have any prior knowledge of Buddhism or meditation to benefit from this journey. Everything will be explained in a way that's clear, accessible, and easy to understand. My goal is to make these teachings feel approachable and relevant to your everyday life. Because ultimately, this isn't about philosophy, it's about practice. It's about giving you tools you can use right now to feel calmer, happier, and more centered. So, are you ready to begin? Let's take a collective deep breath together. Inhale slowly, hold it for just a moment, and exhale gently. Beautiful. Feel free to settle into a comfortable position. Maybe grab a blanket or a cushion if you'd like. Over the next 2 hours, this is your time to focus on yourself, to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Let's embark on this journey together, step by step, breath by breath. Our first chapter will introduce you to the heart of Buddhism, its origins, its teachings, and how they can guide us toward greater peace and understanding. But before we get there, take another deep breath. Let's ground ourselves in this moment, right here, right now. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is Buddhism? Buddhism is one of the oldest spiritual traditions in the world, and its teachings have resonated with millions of people across centuries and cultures. At its core, Buddhism isn't just a religion, it's a profound philosophy, a way of life, and a practical guide to understanding the human experience. It offers tools and insights that help us navigate the complexities of existence, find peace amidst chaos, and uncover the deeper truths about who we are and how we relate to the world around us. To understand Buddhism, we need to start at the beginning, with the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the historical figure who became known as the Buddha. Born into royalty in what is now modern-day Nepal over 2,500 years ago, Siddhartha lived a life of privilege and luxury. His father, the king, sheltered him from the harsh realities of life, ensuring that he never encountered sickness, old age, or death. But despite these comforts, Siddhartha felt a deep sense of unease, a feeling that there must be more to life than material wealth and fleeting pleasures. One day, driven by curiosity, Siddhartha left the palace grounds and ventured into the outside world. On his journey, he encountered 4 pivotal sights that would change the course of his life forever. First, he saw an elderly man, frail and bent with age. Then he came across a sick person, suffering and in pain. Next, he witnessed a funeral procession confronting the reality of death for the first time. Finally, he met an ascetic, a wandering monk who radiated calmness and contentment despite having renounced worldly possessions. These encounters shook Siddhartha to his core. He realized that no matter how much wealth or power one might possess, everyone is subject to the same universal truths: aging, illness, and death. This realization ignited within him a burning desire to seek answers, to discover why we suffer and whether it's possible to transcend suffering altogether. Determined to find meaning beyond the superficial trappings of his royal life, Siddhartha left behind his family, his kingdom, and everything he had ever known. For 6 years, he embarked on a rigorous quest for enlightenment, experimenting with extreme ascetic practices like fasting and self-denial. Yet, even after pushing his body to its limits, he found no lasting peace or clarity. It was only when he abandoned these extremes and adopted a middle path, balancing discipline with self-care, that he began to make progress. Siddhartha eventually settled under a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, vowing not to rise until he had achieved enlightenment. Through deep meditation, he confronted his own fears, desires, and delusions, ultimately awakening to the nature of reality. In that moment, he became the Buddha, the awakened one. The insights he gained during this transformative experience formed the foundation of Buddhist teachings, which he spent the rest of his life sharing with others. At the heart of Buddhism are 2 fundamental concepts: the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These teachings provide a framework for understanding suffering and how to overcome it. Let's break them down step by step. The first noble truth is the truth of suffering, or dukkha. Dukkha doesn't just refer to physical pain or hardship. It encompasses all forms of dissatisfaction, unease, and discontentment. Think about moments in your own life when you felt restless or unfulfilled. Maybe it's the frustration of wanting something you can't have, the anxiety of losing something you cherish, or simply the vague sense that something is missing. Dukkha reminds us that suffering is an inherent part of the human condition. It's not something we can avoid entirely, but it is something we can learn to manage. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering. Attachment, or tanha attachment, manifests in many ways: craving pleasure, clinging to relationships, obsessing over achievements, or resisting change. When we attach ourselves to things that are impermanent, we set ourselves up for disappointment. For example, imagine pouring your energy into chasing success only to feel empty once you achieve it, or holding on to a relationship long after it stopped serving you out of fear of being alone. By recognizing the role attachment plays in our suffering, we can begin to loosen its grip on our lives. The third noble truth offers hope: the cessation of suffering, or nirodha. This doesn't mean escaping life's challenges. It means finding freedom from the mental patterns that amplify our pain. Imagine standing in the rain without an umbrella. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose how you respond to it. Similarly, while we can't control every circumstance, we can cultivate inner resilience and acceptance. Nirodha invites us to let go of unnecessary attachments and embrace the present moment with openness and equanimity. Finally, the fourth noble truth provides a roadmap for ending suffering, the Eightfold Path. Often depicted as a wheel with 8 spokes, the Eightfold Path outlines ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. Each element builds upon the others, creating a holistic approach to personal growth. The path includes right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Together, these principles guide us toward living authentically, compassionately, and harmoniously. One of the most remarkable aspects of Buddhism is its emphasis on individual responsibility. Unlike some religious traditions that rely on divine intervention, Buddhism teaches that liberation is something we must work toward ourselves. There's no higher power dictating our fate. We are the architects of our own destiny. This empowering perspective encourages us to take ownership of our thoughts, actions, and choices. Another key teaching in Buddhism is the concept of interconnectedness. Everything in the universe is interdependent, meaning nothing exists in isolation. Just as a tree relies on sunlight, water, and soil to grow, so too do we depend on countless factors, our families, communities, environments, and even strangers halfway across the globe. Recognizing this interconnectedness fosters a sense of gratitude and compassion. When we see ourselves as part of a larger web of life, we naturally become more mindful of how our actions affect others. Buddhism also places great importance on mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment, while meditation helps us develop focus, clarity, and emotional balance. Both practices train us to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we learn to pause, reflect, and respond with intention. Over time, this creates a profound shift in how we relate to ourselves and the world. While Buddhism has evolved into various schools and traditions over the centuries, such as Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, the essence of its teachings remains consistent. Regardless of cultural differences or sectarian distinctions, the central message of Buddhism is universal. Wake up to the truth of your existence, free yourself from unnecessary suffering, and live with kindness, wisdom, and purpose. Incorporating Buddhist principles into daily life doesn't require drastic changes. Start small. Notice when you're caught up in negative thought patterns and gently redirect your attention. Practice gratitude by appreciating the simple joys around you. Cultivate compassion by extending kindness to others, even in small ways. As you integrate these habits, you'll begin to notice subtle yet meaningful shifts in your mindset and well-being. Understanding Buddhism isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's about applying its teachings to transform your life. The insights we've explored today, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, interconnectedness, and mindfulness are not abstract ideas meant to stay confined to books or lectures. They're practical tools designed to help you navigate the ups and downs of life with greater ease and grace. As we move forward in this video, keep these foundational concepts in mind. They'll serve as a lens through which we'll explore meditation, mindfulness, and other practices that can enhance your well-being. Remember, the journey toward mastering your thoughts begins with understanding where they come from, and Buddhism offers a rich tapestry of wisdom to guide you along the way. Chapter 2: Understanding the Mind. Our minds are extraordinary. They're the source of creativity, connection, and consciousness. Yet they can also be chaotic, unruly, and exhausting. Think about how often your mind jumps from one thought to another, replaying memories, planning for the future, or worrying about things beyond your control. It's like a river rushing downstream, carrying debris along with it. Sometimes the current is calm, but other times it feels overwhelming, pulling you under. This is what Buddhists refer to as monkey mind, a restless, scattered state where our thoughts swing wildly from branch to branch without purpose or direction. Understanding the nature of the mind is essential if we want to master our thoughts. Without awareness, we become prisoners of our own mental patterns, reacting impulsively instead of responding intentionally. But here's the good news. Just as a wild river can be channeled into a peaceful stream, so too can the mind be trained. Meditation and mindfulness offer us the tools to observe our thoughts, regulate our emotions, and cultivate inner peace. Let's explore this process in depth, starting with the science behind the mind and moving into practical strategies for working with it. The human brain is an incredible organ capable of processing vast amounts of information every second. Scientists estimate that we have around 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and many of these thoughts occur automatically, without conscious effort. Some are helpful, guiding us through daily tasks or solving problems. Others, however, are repetitive, negative, or even destructive. Have you ever noticed how certain thoughts seem to loop endlessly in your head? Perhaps it's a criticism you heard years ago, a fear of failure, or a worry about what someone thinks of you. These habitual thought patterns shape our perception of reality and influence how we feel and behave. Neuroscience has shown that our brains are wired for survival, not necessarily happiness. The amygdala, often called the fear center of the brain, is constantly scanning for threats, whether real or imagined. This evolutionary mechanism helped our ancestors avoid predators and danger, but in modern life it often leads to unnecessary stress. For example, imagine receiving an ambiguous email from your boss saying, "We need to talk." Your mind might immediately jump to worst-case scenarios. Did I make a mistake? Am I going to get fired? In reality, the message could simply mean they want to discuss a project update. But by the time you've spiraled into anxiety, your body has already responded as if you're facing a life or death situation. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. Instead of getting swept away by automatic thoughts, mindfulness allows us to step back and observe them objectively. Imagine sitting beside a busy highway. Cars zoom past, some fast, some slow, but you remain on the sidewalk watching without chasing after them. Similarly, when we practice mindfulness, we learn to notice our thoughts without attaching to them or identifying with them. We realize that thoughts are not facts, they're transient events that come and go like clouds passing across the sky. One of the most powerful insights from Buddhism is the idea that suffering arises not from external circumstances, but from our reactions to them. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, famously said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. This space is where mindfulness operates. By creating distance between ourselves and our thoughts, we gain the freedom to respond wisely rather than react impulsively." But how do we create this space? The first step is developing self-awareness. Self-awareness means recognizing what's happening in your mind and body at any given moment. Are you feeling tense? Is your heart racing? Are you ruminating on something that happened earlier? Simply noticing these sensations is a form of mindfulness. Over time, this awareness becomes sharper, allowing you to catch yourself before slipping into unhelpful thought patterns. Another key aspect of understanding the mind is learning to distinguish between primary and secondary suffering. Primary suffering refers to the initial pain caused by an event, for instance, losing a job, ending a relationship, or experiencing physical illness. Secondary suffering, on the other hand, is the additional layer of distress we add through resistance, denial, or rumination. When we cling to the desire for things to be different, we amplify our pain. Buddhist teachings encourage us to accept primary suffering as part of life while letting go of secondary suffering. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation, it means acknowledging reality without fighting against it. To illustrate this point, consider the story of two arrows. According to Buddhist texts, the first arrow represents unavoidable pain, the inevitable challenges of life. The second arrow represents the suffering we inflict upon ourselves through our reactions. For example, if you stub your toe, the physical pain is the first arrow. But if you then start berating yourself for being clumsy or dwell on the incident for hours, that's the second arrow. By practicing mindfulness, we can minimize the impact of the second arrow, reducing unnecessary suffering. Training the mind requires patience and consistency. Just as athletes build muscle through regular exercise, we strengthen our mental faculties through repeated practice. Meditation is one of the most effective ways to develop this strength. During meditation, we focus on an anchor, usually the breath, and gently return our attention whenever it wanders. At first, this can feel frustrating. You might find yourself distracted within seconds, thinking about dinner plans, work deadlines, or random memories. But each time you bring your focus back to the breath, you're exercising your attention muscle. Over time, this practice enhances your ability to concentrate and stay present in everyday situations. There are several types of meditation that target different aspects of the mind. Concentration meditation, for example, involves focusing on a single object, such as the breath, a mantra, or a visual image. This type of meditation builds stability and clarity, helping to quiet the chatter of the mind. Insight meditation, also known as vipassana, goes a step further by encouraging us to investigate the nature of our thoughts and emotions. As we sit quietly, observing our inner experience, we begin to see patterns and habits that were previously hidden. This deeper understanding empowers us to break free from unproductive cycles. Loving kindness meditation, or metta, focuses on cultivating compassion and goodwill toward ourselves and others. This practice begins with generating feelings of warmth and kindness toward oneself, then extends outward to loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even difficult people. Research has shown that loving kindness meditation increases positive emotions, reduces stress, and improves relationships. By training the mind to radiate love and empathy, we counteract the negativity bias that often dominates our thoughts. Another important concept in understanding the mind is impermanence. Everything changes: thoughts, emotions, sensations, circumstances. Even the strongest feelings eventually fade. When we cling to pleasant experiences or resist unpleasant ones, we create tension and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, when we embrace impermanence, we open ourselves to the richness of the present moment. A simple way to practice this is by tuning into sensory details. Notice the texture of your clothing against your skin, the sound of birds chirping outside, or the taste of food in your mouth. These small acts of presence remind us that life unfolds in the here and now, not in the past or future. Cognitive distortions are another area worth exploring. These are irrational or exaggerated thought patterns that contribute to emotional distress. Common examples include all or nothing thinking: if I don't ace this test, I'm a failure. Overgeneralization: I always mess things up. And catastrophizing: this minor setback will ruin everything. By becoming aware of these distortions, we can challenge them and replace them with more balanced perspectives. For instance, instead of thinking, "no one likes me," you might reframe it as, "some people appreciate me, and that's enough." Finally, let's talk about the role of intention in shaping the mind. Every action, word, and thought carries energy, and this energy influences our mental landscape. When we act out of kindness, curiosity, or gratitude, we create positive momentum. Conversely, when we operate from anger, fear, or greed, we reinforce those qualities within ourselves. Setting clear intentions helps align our actions with our values, fostering harmony and coherence. Before beginning a task, ask yourself, what is my intention here? Am I doing this out of love, or am I driven by ego or obligation? This simple practice can transform mundane activities into opportunities for growth. Understanding the mind is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will be moments of clarity and breakthroughs, as well as periods of confusion and frustration. That's perfectly normal. What matters most is your commitment to showing up again and again with openness and curiosity. Each step you take brings you closer to mastering your thoughts and living with greater peace and purpose. As we transition to the next chapter, keep in mind that the principles we've discussed today, mindfulness, self-awareness, acceptance, and intention, are foundational to the practices we'll explore moving forward. They provide the framework for integrating meditation and mindfulness into your daily life, empowering you to navigate challenges with grace and resilience. Chapter 3, The Power of Meditation. Meditation is one of the most transformative practices in human history, and its benefits are both profound and far-reaching. Rooted in ancient traditions like Buddhism, meditation has been refined over thousands of years to help individuals cultivate awareness, clarity, and inner peace. But what exactly is meditation, and why does it hold such immense power? At its core, meditation is about training the mind. It's not about emptying your thoughts or achieving some mystical state. It's about developing a relationship with your thoughts, emotions, and sensations so you can navigate life with greater ease and wisdom. To understand the power of meditation, let's start by examining its purpose. Meditation serves as a mirror for the mind, reflecting back everything that arises within us, our fears, desires, joys, and insecurities. By sitting quietly and observing these internal movements, we begin to see patterns and habits that shape our lives. For example, you might notice how quickly your mind jumps to judgment when someone cuts you off in traffic, or how easily you get caught up in replaying past mistakes. These observations are invaluable because they reveal the unconscious forces driving your behavior. Once you become aware of them, you can start to work with them consciously. There are many forms of meditation, each tailored to different goals and temperaments. Some focus on cultivating concentration, others aim to foster insight, and still others emphasize compassion or relaxation. Regardless of the style, all meditation practices share a common foundation: presence. Presence means being fully engaged with whatever is happening in the moment without distraction or resistance. This sounds simple, but in practice it can be incredibly challenging. Our minds are wired to wander, constantly seeking stimulation or escape. Meditation teaches us to anchor ourselves in the present, using tools like the breath, body sensations, or visualizations to stabilize our attention. Let's explore some of the most widely practiced forms of meditation in detail. One of the simplest and most accessible techniques is mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. You might focus on your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils, or scan your body from head to toe, observing areas of tension or relaxation. Whenever your mind wanders, and it will, you gently bring your attention back to your chosen anchor. This process strengthens your ability to stay focused and grounded, even amid distractions. Over time, mindfulness meditation rewires your brain, enhancing areas associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. Another powerful form of meditation is loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta. This practice centers on cultivating feelings of warmth, kindness, and goodwill toward yourself and others. To begin, you silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." Then you extend these wishes outward to loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and eventually, even difficult people. Loving-kindness meditation softens the heart, dissolving barriers of resentment and fear. Studies have shown that regular practice increases positive emotions, reduces symptoms of depression, and improves social connections. It's a reminder that compassion isn't just something we feel, it's something we can actively cultivate. Concentration meditation, sometimes referred to as single-pointed meditation, focuses on sharpening the mind's ability to sustain attention. In this practice, you choose an object of focus, such as the breath, a mantra, or a visual image, and direct your full awareness toward it. When distractions arise, you acknowledge them briefly, then return to your focal point. Concentration meditation builds mental discipline, helping you resist the pull of multitasking and scattered thinking. It's particularly useful for improving productivity, reducing stress, and enhancing cognitive performance. For those interested in exploring the nature of reality, insight meditation, or vipassana, offers a deep dive into the workings of the mind. Vipassana encourages practitioners to observe their thoughts, emotions, and sensations with detached curiosity. Rather than identifying with these experiences, you view them as impermanent phenomena arising and passing away. For example, if anger arises during meditation, instead of suppressing it or acting on it, you simply note, "This is anger," and watch it dissolve naturally. Through repeated observation, you develop equanimity, a balanced state of mind that remains calm and centered regardless of external circumstances. Breath-focused meditation is another cornerstone of many traditions. The breath is always available, making it an ideal anchor for beginners and experienced meditators alike. By focusing on the rhythm of your breathing, you create a sense of stability and calm. There are countless variations of breath-based practices, ranging from counting breaths to visualizing energy flowing through the body. Some techniques involve alternating nostril breathing, which balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain, while others incorporate visualization, such as imagining light filling the body with each inhale. Whatever method you choose, the goal is the same: to use the breath as a gateway to deeper states of awareness. Meditation isn't limited to sitting still. Walking meditation, for instance, transforms movement into a mindful practice. Instead of rushing from one place to another, you walk slowly and deliberately, paying close attention to the sensations in your feet, legs, and torso. With each step, you synchronize your movements with your breath, creating a rhythmic flow. Walking meditation is especially helpful for people who struggle with restlessness or find seated meditation uncomfortable. It's also a beautiful way to connect with nature, whether you're strolling through a forest, along a beach, or around your neighborhood. Guided meditations offer another accessible entry point, especially for beginners. In a guided meditation, a teacher leads you through a series of instructions, often incorporating imagery, storytelling, or affirmations. These meditations can range from 5 minutes to an hour or more, depending on your preference. Guided practices are particularly effective for addressing specific themes, such as releasing anxiety, building confidence, or fostering gratitude. Many apps and online platforms provide free resources, making it easier than ever to incorporate meditation into your daily routine. One of the most fascinating aspects of meditation is its impact on the brain. Neuroscientific research has revealed that regular meditation leads to structural changes in key areas, including the prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and amygdala. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and self-control, becomes thicker and more active. The hippocampus, involved in memory and learning, shows increased grey matter density. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, shrinks, reducing reactivity to stress. These findings underscore the tangible benefits of meditation, proving that it's not just a spiritual pursuit, but a scientifically validated tool for enhancing well-being. Beyond neuroscience, meditation offers profound psychological benefits. It reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression, lowers blood pressure, improves sleep quality, and boosts immune function. It also fosters resilience, enabling you to bounce back from adversity more quickly. Perhaps most importantly, meditation helps you reconnect with your authentic self, the essence of who you are beneath the layers of conditioning and societal expectations. As you peel away these layers, you discover a sense of wholeness and contentment that doesn't depend on external validation. Despite its many advantages, meditation isn't always easy. Beginners often encounter frustration, boredom, or discomfort. Your mind may race uncontrollably, your body might ache, or you might question whether you're doing it right. These challenges are completely normal. Meditation isn't about achieving perfection, it's about showing up consistently even when it feels hard. Each session plants a seed, and over time, those seeds grow into a garden of peace and clarity. To integrate meditation into your life, start small. Commit to just 5 or 10 minutes a day, ideally at the same time and place. Create a dedicated space where you won't be disturbed, perhaps lighting a candle or playing soft music to set the mood. Experiment with different techniques until you find one that resonates with you. Remember, there's no wrong way to meditate. As long as you're bringing awareness to the present moment, you're doing it correctly. As you deepen your practice, you'll likely notice shifts in your perspective and behavior. You might become less reactive, more patient, and more attuned to the needs of others. you'll develop a greater capacity to sit with discomfort rather than avoiding it, and you'll cultivate a sense of spaciousness, a feeling that you have room to breathe no matter what life throws your way. Ultimately, meditation is a journey inward. It invites you to explore the vast landscape of your own consciousness, uncovering hidden treasures along the way. Whether you're seeking relief from stress, greater insight into your mind, or a deeper connection to the world around you, meditation provides a path forward. Its power lies not in complexity, but in simplicity, in the willingness to show up again and again and meet yourself exactly as you are. As we transition to the next chapter, keep in mind that meditation is a lifelong practice. It's not something you master overnight, but a skill you refine over time. Each moment of stillness adds to the reservoir of calm and clarity within you, empowering you to face life's challenges with grace and resilience. Chapter 4. Embracing Impermanence. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence, the idea that everything changes. Nothing stays the same, whether it's the seasons, relationships, emotions, or even our own bodies. While this truth might seem obvious at first glance, truly embracing impermanence can be one of the most challenging yet liberating aspects of personal growth. It invites us to let go of attachment, cultivate gratitude, and find peace in the flow of life. At its heart, impermanence reminds us that all things are transient. Birth leads to death, joy gives way to sorrow, and beginnings inevitably lead to endings. This cycle is woven into the fabric of existence, governing everything from the smallest blade of grass to the vast movements of galaxies. When we resist impermanence, clinging to what we love or fearing what we cannot control, we create suffering for ourselves. But when we accept it, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of freedom and appreciation for the present. To understand impermanence, let's start by examining its prevalence in our daily lives. Consider something as simple as a cup of coffee. The aroma fills the air as you pour the hot liquid into your mug. For a brief period, the warmth soothes your hands and the taste delights your senses. But soon enough, the coffee cools, the flavor fades, and the experience ends. Even the mug itself won't last forever. It may chip, break, or eventually wear out with use. Every aspect of this seemingly mundane ritual is subject to change. Now expand this perspective to larger areas of life. Think about the people you care about, friends, family members, partners. Their presence in your life is precious, but it's also finite. One day they will grow older, move away, or pass on. Relationships evolve, sometimes growing stronger, other times drifting apart. Jobs come and go, homes change, and circumstances shift. Even our own identities are fluid, shaped by experiences that continually mold who we are. The realization of impermanence can feel unsettling, especially when applied to things we hold dear. We instinctively want to preserve the good moments, freeze them in time, and shield ourselves from loss. Yet, paradoxically, it's precisely because things are fleeting that they hold meaning. Imagine if every sunset lasted indefinitely. Its beauty would lose its impact, becoming just another constant feature of the sky. It's the temporary nature of sunsets, their brevity, that makes them so breathtaking. Similarly, the impermanence of life heightens its significance, urging us to savor each moment fully. Buddhism uses the metaphor of a river to illustrate impermanence. Like water flowing downstream, life is always moving forward. You can never step into the same river twice because the water and you are constantly changing. This analogy underscores the futility of trying to hold on to anything permanently. Whether it's material possessions, achievements, or relationships, attempting to grasp at what's slipping away only amplifies dissatisfaction. Instead, Buddhism encourages us to flow with the current, accepting change as an inherent part of existence. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or passivity. It means acknowledging reality without resistance. When we fight against impermanence, we create tension within ourselves. For example, imagine losing a job. If you cling to the belief that stability should last forever, you'll likely experience anger, frustration, or despair. However, if you recognize that careers naturally ebb and flow, you can approach the situation with greater equanimity. Rather than viewing the loss as catastrophic, you might see it as an opportunity for growth or redirection. Acceptance softens the edges of hardship, helping us navigate transitions with resilience and grace. Impermanence also teaches us to cherish the present moment. Because nothing lasts, every experience becomes uniquely valuable. A hug from a loved one, the sound of rain tapping against the window, the laughter of children playing, all these moments are gifts that cannot be replicated. By tuning into the here and now, we deepen our connection to life. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process, training us to notice the details that often go overlooked. When you eat a meal mindfully, for instance, you appreciate the textures, flavors, and aromas in a way that transforms an ordinary act into a sacred ritual. Another important aspect of impermanence is its relationship to attachment. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as a primary source of suffering. When we cling to people, objects, or outcomes, we set ourselves up for disappointment. This isn't to say that love or desire are inherently bad. They're natural parts of being human. The problem arises when we expect permanence when none exists. For example, loving someone deeply is beautiful, but expecting them to fulfill all your needs or remain unchanged forever creates unrealistic expectations. By letting go of rigid attachments, we allow relationships to breathe and evolve naturally. Letting go doesn't mean detaching entirely or becoming indifferent. It means holding things lightly, with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. Picture a bird perched on your palm. If you grip too tightly, the bird will struggle to escape, causing harm to both you and the creature. But if you relax your grip, the bird remains free to stay or fly away. In the same way, releasing attachment allows us to engage with life more authentically. We give without expecting anything in return, love without conditions, and live without clinging to outcomes. Practicing impermanence requires courage. It asks us to confront fears of loss, uncertainty, and mortality. These fears are universal, yet they often lurk beneath the surface, influencing our decisions and behaviors in subtle ways. By shining a light on them, we can begin to dismantle their power over us. Contemplating death, for instance, is a powerful exercise in embracing impermanence. Reflecting on the inevitability of our own passing helps us prioritize what truly matters and let go of trivial concerns. Many Buddhist traditions incorporate meditations on death, not as morbid obsessions, but as reminders to live fully while we still can. Impermanence also has practical applications in managing emotions. Feelings, like everything else, are temporary. Anger, sadness, excitement, and joy all arise and pass away. Recognizing this fact can prevent us from identifying too strongly with any single emotion. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed by grief, reminding yourself that this too shall pass can provide comfort and perspective. Similarly, if you're caught up in excitement about a new achievement, remembering its impermanence can help you stay grounded and avoid arrogance. In addition to emotional regulation, impermanence fosters adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and rigid plans often crumble under the weight of unforeseen circumstances. By embracing impermanence, we become more flexible, learning to pivot gracefully when things don't go as expected. This adaptability is particularly valuable in today's fast-paced world, where change happens rapidly and unpredictably. Instead of resisting shifts, we learn to lean into them, finding opportunities for growth and innovation. Cultivating awareness of impermanence also deepens our capacity for compassion. When we understand that everyone is navigating the same uncertain terrain, we develop greater empathy for others' struggles, loss, aging, illness. These are shared human experiences that unite us across cultures and backgrounds. By recognizing our common vulnerability, we soften toward ourselves and others, fostering kindness and connection. Finally, impermanence points to the interconnectedness of all things. Just as leaves fall to nourish the soil, which then supports new growth, every ending paves the way for a beginning. Death gives rise to life and destruction clears space for creation. This cyclical pattern reflects the dynamic balance of the universe, reminding us that nothing exists in isolation. Our actions ripple outward, affecting countless beings in ways we may never fully comprehend. By embracing impermanence, we align ourselves with this greater web of existence, contributing positively to the collective whole. As we integrate these insights into our daily lives, we discover that impermanence isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. It challenges us to live authentically, love deeply, and cherish every moment. Whether it's watching a flower bloom, sharing a laugh with a friend, or simply breathing in fresh air, impermanence invites us to wake up to the miracle of being alive. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore how mindfulness and meditation can further support this awakening, helping us embody the wisdom of impermanence in tangible ways. For now, take a moment to reflect on the transient beauty of your own life. Notice how each breath, thought, and sensation flows seamlessly into the next. In doing so, you honor the ever-changing dance of existence, finding peace amidst its ceaseless motion. Chapter 5. Cultivating Compassion. Compassion is one of the most profound and transformative forces we can cultivate within ourselves. It's not just a feeling, it's an action, a way of being, and a bridge that connects us to others and to the world around us. In Buddhism, compassion, or karuna, is considered essential for personal growth and collective well-being. When we practice compassion, we shift our focus from self-centered concerns to a broader awareness of the suffering and joys of others. This shift doesn't diminish our own needs. Rather, it expands our capacity to care, heal, and contribute meaningfully to life. At its core, compassion is about recognizing the shared humanity in everyone. We all experience pain, fear, joy, and longing. These emotions bind us together, transcending differences in culture, language, or circumstance. Yet, despite this universal truth, it's easy to lose sight of our interconnectedness in the busyness of daily life, where we often move through the world preoccupied with our own struggles, forgetting that others are navigating their own challenges too. Compassion reminds us to look beyond ourselves, fostering empathy and understanding. To truly understand compassion, let's break it down into its components. Compassion has two key elements: awareness of suffering and the desire to alleviate it. Awareness means paying attention to the pain, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, that exists both within us and around us. It's about noticing when someone seems withdrawn, sensing tension in a room, or acknowledging the silent cries of those who feel unseen. But awareness alone isn't enough. True compassion involves taking the next step, the heartfelt wish to ease that suffering, even if only in small ways. Loving kindness, meditation, or metta is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating compassion. Metta begins with generating warmth and kindness toward oneself, then extends outward to include loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and eventually, even difficult people. The practice typically involves repeating phrases like, "May you be happy," "May you be healthy," "May you live with ease," while visualizing the person you're directing these wishes toward. At first, it might feel awkward or forced, especially if you're unused to expressing such sentiments. But over time, metta softens the heart, dissolving barriers of resentment and fear. Why start with ourselves? Because self-compassion is the foundation of compassion for others. Many of us are quick to criticize ourselves, holding ourselves to impossibly high standards. We judge our mistakes harshly, compare ourselves unfavorably to others, and berate ourselves for perceived shortcomings. This lack of self-compassion creates a barrier to extending kindness outward. If we can't treat ourselves with gentleness and forgiveness, how can we expect to do so for others? Practicing self-compassion means acknowledging our flaws without judgment, offering ourselves the same care and patience we'd extend to a dear friend. Self-compassion also strengthens resilience. When we face setbacks or failures, self-criticism tends to exacerbate the pain. Instead of motivating us to improve, it often leads to shame, paralysis, or avoidance. Self-compassion, on the other hand, provides a safe space to process difficulties. It says, "This is hard right now, but I'm here for myself. I'll get through this." Research shows that individuals who practice self-compassion are more likely to bounce back from adversity, maintain healthier relationships, and pursue goals with greater persistence. Once we've established a baseline of self-compassion, we can begin expanding our circle of care. Start with those closest to you: family members, friends, mentors. Picture them in your mind's eye, imagining their joys and struggles. Send them loving kindness, wishing them happiness and relief from suffering. Then widen your focus to include acquaintances, people you see regularly but don't know deeply, like co-workers, neighbors, or shopkeepers. Even though your interactions may be brief, they're still part of your shared human experience. The next step is perhaps the most challenging: extending compassion to strangers and even difficult people. Strangers represent the unknown, and difficult people evoke feelings of frustration, anger, or hurt. Yet, both groups offer opportunities for growth. With strangers, compassion invites curiosity and openness. Instead of assuming the worst, try to imagine their stories. What challenges might they be facing? What hopes and dreams drive them? For difficult people, compassion requires digging deeper into your reserves of patience and forgiveness. Recognize that their behavior often stems from their own pain or insecurity. While this doesn't excuse harmful actions, it helps you respond with clarity rather than reactivity. One of the most inspiring aspects of compassion is its ripple effect. Acts of kindness, no matter how small, have the power to inspire similar behaviors in others. Think about a time when someone showed you unexpected generosity. A stranger holding the door open, a colleague offering support during a tough project, or a friend listening without judgment when you needed to vent. How did it make you feel? Chances are it brightened your day and encouraged you to pay it forward. Compassion creates a virtuous cycle, spreading positivity and connection wherever it goes. Compassion also benefits the giver as much as the receiver. Studies have shown that practicing compassion reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and boosts immune function. It activates the brain's reward centers, releasing oxytocin, the love hormone, which enhances feelings of trust and bonding. People who engage in compassionate acts report higher levels of happiness, satisfaction, and purpose. In short, helping others makes us healthier and happier. But compassion isn't always easy. Sometimes it feels risky or vulnerable to open our hearts to others' pain. We might worry about being overwhelmed by the sheer scale of suffering in the world. Or we might fear rejection, misunderstanding, or burnout. These concerns are valid, but they shouldn't deter us from trying. Compassion doesn't mean taking on everyone else's burdens. It means offering what we can, within our limits, while maintaining healthy boundaries. Setting boundaries is crucial for sustainable compassion. Without them, we risk compassion fatigue, a state of emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged exposure to others' suffering. Compassion fatigue is common among caregivers, healthcare workers, and activists, but it can affect anyone who gives too much of themselves without replenishing their own reserves. To prevent this, prioritize self-care practices like rest, exercise, and mindfulness. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself ensures that you have the energy and resources to continue giving generously. Another challenge is balancing compassion with justice. Compassion doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or ignoring systemic issues like inequality, oppression, or environmental destruction. On the contrary, true compassion demands action. It calls us to stand up against injustice, advocate for marginalized communities, and work toward creating a more equitable world. Compassionate activism combines empathy with courage, addressing root causes of suffering while honoring the dignity of all beings. Practicing compassion in everyday life doesn't require grand gestures. Small, consistent actions can have a profound impact. Smile at someone who looks downcast. Offer a kind word to a coworker having a rough day. Volunteer your time or resources to a cause you believe in. Listen attentively when someone shares their story without interrupting or offering unsolicited advice. These seemingly minor acts accumulate, creating a culture of care and mutual support. Mindfulness plays a vital role in cultivating compassion. By staying present, we become more attuned to the needs of others and less distracted by our own preoccupations. Mindfulness also helps us regulate our emotions, preventing us from reacting impulsively to triggers. For example, if someone snaps at you unfairly, mindfulness allows you to pause before responding. Instead of retaliating, you might choose to inquire gently, "Is everything okay? You seem upset." This approach diffuses tension and opens the door to constructive dialogue. Compassion extends beyond human relationships to encompass animals, nature, and the planet as a whole. Modern society often treats these entities as commodities to exploit, but Buddhism teaches that all forms of life are interconnected. When we harm the environment, we ultimately harm ourselves. Conversely, protecting ecosystems, reducing waste, and adopting sustainable habits reflect compassion for future generations. Every choice we make, from the food we eat to the products we buy, has consequences that ripple outward. Finally, compassion aligns with the Buddhist principle of non-harm. Ahimsa non-harm doesn't mean avoid conflict altogether. It means striving to minimize harm whenever possible. This ethic applies to our thoughts, words, and actions. Before speaking, ask yourself, will my words uplift or hurt? Before acting, consider, does this action contribute to well-being or suffering? By integrating ahimsa into our daily lives, we create a foundation of integrity and kindness. As we deepen our practice of compassion, we discover that it's not just something we do, it's something we become. Over time, compassion becomes second nature, shaping how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. It transforms fear into courage, isolation into connection, and despair into hope. And while the journey isn't always smooth, the rewards are immeasurable. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore additional tools and techniques for living mindfully and authentically, building on the foundation of compassion we've laid today. For now, take a moment to reflect on how you can bring more compassion into your life, whether it's through meditation, mindful listening, or simple acts of kindness. Every effort counts. Together, we can create a world where compassion thrives, nurturing both individual and collective well-being. Chapter 6. Living Mindfully in Daily Life. Mindfulness isn't confined to meditation cushions or serene retreats. It's a practice that can infuse every moment of our lives with presence, awareness, and intention. In this chapter, we'll explore how to integrate mindfulness into your daily routines, transforming ordinary tasks into opportunities for growth and connection. By living mindfully, you not only reduce stress, but also deepen your appreciation for the richness of life unfolding around you. At its essence, mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about showing up fully for whatever you're doing, whether it's eating breakfast, having a conversation, or completing a task at work. When we bring mindfulness into our daily lives, we shift from autopilot mode, where we operate mechanically, lost in thought, to a state of conscious engagement. This shift allows us to experience life more vividly, noticing details we might otherwise overlook. Let's start by examining some common areas where mindfulness can make a significant impact: eating, movement, communication, and work. Each of these domains offers countless opportunities to slow down, tune in, and connect with the here and now. Mindful eating. Eating is one of the most fundamental human activities, yet it's often rushed or done distractedly. How many times have you scarfed down a meal while scrolling through your phone, barely tasting what's on your plate? Mindful eating invites us to savor each bite, cultivating gratitude for the nourishment food provides. To practice mindful eating, begin by setting aside distractions. Turn off screens, put away books, and focus solely on your meal. Before taking the first bite, take a moment to express gratitude for the farmers who grew the ingredients, the hands that prepared the dish, and the sustenance it offers your body. As you eat, pay attention to the sensory details, the colors, textures, aromas, and flavors. Chew slowly, noticing how the taste evolves with each chew. Observe the sensations in your body as hunger transforms into satiety. Mindful eating has numerous benefits beyond enhancing enjoyment. It helps regulate portion sizes, preventing overeating by allowing you to recognize when you're full. It also reduces digestive issues caused by hurried meals and fosters a healthier relationship with food. Instead of labeling certain foods as good or bad, mindful eating encourages curiosity and non-judgmental awareness. Mindful movement. Movement is another powerful avenue for practicing mindfulness. Whether it's yoga, tai chi, or simply walking, bringing awareness to your body connects you to the present moment. Walking meditation in particular is an accessible way to combine mindfulness with physical activity. To practice walking meditation, choose a quiet space where you can walk back and forth without interruption. Begin by standing still, feeling the weight of your body pressing into the ground. Take a few deep breaths, grounding yourself in the sensation of being supported by the earth. Then start walking slowly, synchronizing your steps with your breath. With each step, notice the lifting, moving and placing of your foot. Feel the texture of the surface beneath you, the softness of grass, the hardness of pavement, or the coolness of tile. If your mind wanders, gently bring your attention back to the rhythm of your steps. Walking meditation isn't limited to solitary settings. You can incorporate it into your daily commutes or errands. Pay attention to the sights, sounds, and smells around you. Notice the play of light and shadow, the rustling of leaves, or the hum of distant traffic. By staying present during movement, you transform routine activities into meditative experiences. Mindful communication. Communication is central to human relationships, yet it's easy to fall into patterns of distraction or reactivity. Mindful communication involves listening deeply and speaking with intention, creating space for authentic connection. When engaging in conversations, resist the urge to multitask or plan your response while the other person is talking. Instead, give them your full attention. Make eye contact, nod occasionally, and use verbal cues like "I see" or "tell me more" to show you're engaged. Listen not just to the words, but also to the emotions behind them. Is the speaker expressing frustration, excitement, or vulnerability? Tuning into these nuances strengthens empathy and understanding. When it's your turn to speak, pause before responding. Ask yourself, what do I want to convey? Am I speaking from a place of kindness and clarity? Avoid interrupting or dominating the conversation. Instead, aim to collaborate, inviting mutual exchange rather than competition. Practicing mindful communication builds trust and fosters meaningful relationships. Mindfulness at work. The workplace is often a source of stress, but mindfulness can help create a calmer, more productive environment. Start by setting intentions for your day. Before diving into tasks, take a few moments to breathe deeply and clarify your priorities. What matters most today? What can wait? Setting clear goals reduces overwhelm and keeps you focused on what truly counts. Throughout the day, incorporate mini meditations to reset your mind. For example, before transitioning between meetings or projects, close your eyes and take 3 deliberate breaths. Use this time to check in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? Do I need a break? These brief pauses prevent burnout and enhance mental clarity. Mindfulness also improves decision-making. When faced with challenges, resist the impulse to react impulsively. Instead, pause and observe your thoughts and emotions. Are they clouding your judgment? By stepping back, you gain perspective, enabling you to respond wisely rather than rashly. Additionally, fostering a culture of mindfulness within teams through group meditations, mindful meetings, or open dialogue boosts collaboration and morale. Mindfulness in challenging moments. Life inevitably presents difficulties, but mindfulness equips us to navigate them with greater resilience. When confronted with stress, anger, or sadness, mindfulness teaches us to acknowledge these emotions without suppressing or amplifying them. Rather than identifying with the emotion, "I am angry," view it objectively, "This is anger arising." This subtle shift creates distance, giving you the space to respond skillfully. One effective technique for managing challenging emotions is the stop method. Stop, take a breath, Observe, proceed. When you feel triggered, pause momentarily. Take a slow, deep breath, filling your lungs completely before exhaling. Observe what's happening internally, your thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations. Finally, proceed with intention, choosing a course of action that aligns with your values. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic and running late for an important meeting. Frustration might bubble up, tempting you to honk or curse under your breath. Using the stop method, you pause, breathe, and notice the tension in your shoulders or the racing thoughts in your mind. You then remind yourself that traffic is beyond your control and decide to use the extra time to mentally prepare for the meeting or listen to calming music. This approach diffuses tension and restores calm. Mindfulness in relationships. Relationships thrive on presence. Many conflicts arise not because of irreconcilable differences, but because of miscommunication or neglect. Mindfulness in relationships means showing up fully for the people you care about, free from distractions or assumptions. One way to cultivate mindfulness in relationships is through active listening. When someone shares their thoughts or feelings, resist the urge to interrupt or offer solutions immediately. Instead, listen with an open heart, validating their experience. Phrases like, "That sounds really tough," or "I hear you," communicate empathy and support. Another key aspect is setting boundaries mindfully. Healthy relationships require clear communication about needs and limits. Express your boundaries kindly but firmly, ensuring they reflect self-respect rather than resentment. For instance, if you need time alone after a long day, let your partner know gently, "I've had a busy day and could use some quiet time to recharge." By articulating your needs mindfully, you strengthen mutual respect and understanding. Mindfulness in nature. Nature is a powerful ally in cultivating mindfulness. Spending time outdoors reconnects us to the rhythms of the earth and reminds us of our place within the larger web of life. Whether it's a forest hike, a stroll along the beach, or simply sitting under a tree, nature invites us to slow down and be present. During outdoor excursions, engage all your senses. Notice the scent of pine needles, the sound of birdsong, or the warmth of sunlight on your skin. Touch the bark of a tree, feeling its rough texture. Watch the movement of clouds across the sky or the ripples on a pond. These small acts of presence deepen your connection to the natural world, fostering awe and gratitude. If you live in an urban environment, seek out green spaces, parks, gardens, or rooftop terraces. Even tending to houseplants or gazing at the stars can evoke a sense of wonder. Nature serves as a mirror, reflecting the impermanence and beauty of existence. The ripple effect of mindfulness. Living mindfully doesn't just benefit you, it positively impacts those around you. Your presence inspires others to slow down and appreciate life more deeply. For example, when you listen attentively, you model attentive listening. When you approach challenges with calmness, you demonstrate emotional regulation. Over time, these behaviors create a ripple effect, spreading mindfulness throughout your community. Moreover, mindfulness contributes to societal well-being. By reducing stress and increasing empathy, it fosters environments where creativity, collaboration, and compassion flourish. Imagine workplaces where employees feel valued, schools where children learn to regulate their emotions, and communities where neighbors support one another. These visions are possible when mindfulness becomes a shared practice. Overcoming barriers to mindfulness. While mindfulness offers immense rewards, it's not always easy to sustain. Common obstacles include forgetfulness, impatience, and resistance to change. To overcome these barriers, start small. Incorporate mindfulness into existing habits rather than trying to overhaul your entire routine. For instance, pair mindful breathing with brushing your teeth or practice gratitude while waiting for coffee to brew. Consistency matters more than duration. Another helpful strategy is accountability. Share your mindfulness journey with a friend or join a group focused on meditation or personal growth. Having a supportive community reinforces commitment and provides encouragement during challenging times. Finally, embrace imperfection. There will be days when mindfulness feels effortless and others when it seems impossible. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. Each moment of awareness adds up, gradually reshaping your mindset and behavior. Conclusion: bringing it all together. Living mindfully transforms the mundane into the extraordinary. It turns everyday moments into opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. From mindful eating to compassionate communication, the practices we've explored today empower you to navigate life with greater ease and purpose. As we move forward, remember that mindfulness is a lifelong journey. It's not a destination to reach, but a path to walk, one step at a time. Every breath, every interaction, and every choice offers a chance to wake up to the miracle of being alive. By embracing mindfulness, you enrich not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. In the chapters ahead, we'll delve deeper into advanced techniques and insights, building on the foundation of mindfulness we've established today. For now, carry these practices into your daily life, trusting that even small efforts yield profound results. Chapter 7. Letting Go of Ego. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the concept of non-self, or anatta. This idea challenges one of the deepest assumptions we hold about ourselves, that there is a fixed, unchanging I at the center of our experience. The ego, as commonly understand it, is the lens through which we interpret the world. It's the voice in our heads that says, "This is me, these are my thoughts, my feelings, my possessions." While the ego serves practical purposes, helping us navigate social interactions and make decisions, it can also become a source of suffering when it dominates our lives. Letting go of the ego doesn't mean erasing your identity or becoming indifferent to life. Instead, it means recognizing the ego for what it is, a construct, and learning to live beyond its limitations. To understand why letting go of the ego is so transformative, let's first examine what the ego actually is. In psychological terms, the ego represents our sense of self, the part of us that defines who we are based on memories, beliefs, roles, and achievements. It's the storyteller, constantly narrating our experiences and shaping how we see ourselves and others. For example, you might identify as a parent, an artist, a hard worker, or someone who's shy or ambitious. These labels provide structure and continuity, helping us function in the world. However, they also create boundaries that limit our potential and distort reality. In Buddhism, the ego is seen as a root cause of suffering. When we cling to the idea of a separate, permanent self, we inevitably experience attachment, comparison, and fear. Attachment arises because we believe certain things define us: our job title, our appearance, our relationships. Comparison stems from measuring ourselves against others, leading to feelings of superiority or inadequacy. Fear emerges when we worry about losing the things that prop up our sense of self. All these reactions reinforce the illusion of separateness, keeping us trapped in cycles of craving and aversion. The teaching of non-self offers a radical alternative. Non-self doesn't deny the existence of individuality or consciousness. Rather, it suggests that what we call the self is not a solid, independent entity, but a collection of ever-changing processes. Think about your own experience. Do you feel exactly the same today as you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Your body has aged, your preferences have shifted, and your understanding of the world has evolved. Even within a single day, your mood fluctuates, your energy levels rise and fall, and your thoughts come and go. What remains constant amidst all this change? Buddhism uses the metaphor of a river to explain non-self. Like water flowing downstream, our thoughts, emotions, and sensations are always in motion. Just as you can never step into the same river twice, you can never encounter the exact same version of yourself. This perspective invites us to stop identifying so rigidly with fleeting states and instead embrace the fluidity of existence. By loosening our grip on the ego, we open ourselves to greater freedom, flexibility, and connection. Letting go of the ego begins with awareness. The first step is noticing how often the ego asserts itself in daily life. Pay attention to moments when you feel defensive, competitive, or overly attached to outcomes. These are signs that the ego is trying to protect its territory. For instance, if someone criticizes your work, you might react defensively because their comment threatens your self-image as competent or talented. Similarly, if you compare your accomplishments to someone else's and feel envious, you're reinforcing the belief that your worth depends on external validation. Recognizing these patterns is crucial because it allows you to step back and question whether the ego's narrative is serving you. Another powerful way to loosen the ego's hold is through mindfulness meditation. During meditation, you observe your thoughts without identifying with them. Instead of thinking, "I am angry," you note, "Anger is present." This subtle shift creates distance between you and your thoughts, revealing that they are not synonymous with who you are. Over time, this practice weakens the ego's dominance, allowing space for deeper truths to emerge. Self-inquiry is another tool for exploring the nature of the self. Self-inquiry involves asking probing questions like, "Who am I?" or "What is aware right now?" At first, these questions might seem abstract or frustrating, especially if you're used to seeking concrete answers. But their purpose isn't intellectual, it's experiential. They encourage you to look beyond surface-level identities and discover the essence of your being. Ramana Maharshi, a revered Indian sage, emphasized self-inquiry as a path to liberation. He suggested that by repeatedly asking, "Who am I?" you peel away layers of conditioning until only pure awareness remains. Humility plays a key role in letting go the ego. Humility isn't about diminishing yourself or denying your strengths. It's about acknowledging your place within the larger web of existence. No matter how accomplished or knowledgeable you may be, you're still dependent on countless factors outside your control: your parents, teachers, friends, society, and even the planet itself. Recognizing this interconnectedness fosters gratitude and compassion. It reminds you that success isn't solely yours to claim, nor is failure entirely your fault. Life is a collaborative dance, and everyone contributes to its unfolding. Practicing humility also helps dissolve the barriers that the ego creates between me and others. When you let go of the need to stand out or prove yourself, you become more open to collaboration and mutual support. Consider how teams thrive when members prioritize shared goals over personal recognition. Or think about acts of service, where giving without expectation of reward strengthens community bonds. By stepping out of the spotlight, you allow space for others to shine, creating a culture of generosity and trust. Letting go of the ego requires courage. It means confronting fears of inadequacy, insignificance, or loss of control. Many people resist this process because they associate the ego with safety and stability. Without the ego's narratives, they worry they'll lose direction or purpose. But paradoxically, releasing the ego's grip actually expands your sense of possibility. You realize that you don't need to conform to societal expectations or chase endless achievements to feel whole. True fulfillment comes from aligning with your authentic self, the part of you that exists beyond labels and roles. One of the most liberating aspects of non-self is its emphasis on impermanence. Because nothing lasts, including the ego, we're free to experiment, adapt, and evolve. Imagine approaching life as a series of temporary roles rather than a fixed identity. You might play the role of a student, a teacher, a leader, or a follower, depending on the situation. Each role serves a purpose, but none defines you completely. This mindset encourages creativity and resilience, enabling you to navigate transitions with grace. Non-self also highlights the interconnected nature of all beings. When you stop seeing yourself as separate from others, you naturally develop empathy and kindness. You recognize that everyone is navigating similar struggles, driven by desires and fears much like your own. This realization softens judgment and fosters unity. For example, instead of reacting angrily to someone cutting you off in traffic, you might consider the stress or distraction they might be experiencing. By extending compassion, you contribute to a more harmonious world. Letting go of the ego doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that unfolds over time. Along the way, you'll likely encounter resistance. Old habits die hard, and the ego will try to reassert itself whenever it feels threatened. But remember, this resistance is part of the journey. Each time you notice the ego's influence, you have an opportunity to choose differently, to respond with wisdom rather than reactivity. There are practical steps you can take to support this transformation. Start by examining your motivations. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I seeking approval, avoiding discomfort, or genuinely wanting to grow? Understanding your intentions helps clarify whether the ego is driving your actions. Next, practice gratitude and appreciation for the contributions of others. Celebrate their successes as much as your own, recognizing that achievement is rarely solitary. Finally, engage in activities that remind you of your interconnectedness, such as volunteering, spending time in nature, or meditating on universal themes like love and impermanence. Living without excessive attachment to the ego brings immense benefits. You become less reactive, more adaptable, and better able to handle uncertainty. Relationships improve because you approach them with openness and curiosity rather than defensiveness or competition. Creativity flourishes when you stop worrying about how your work will be perceived and focus instead on expressing your truth. Most importantly, you experience a profound sense of peace, knowing that you're not defined by external circumstances. It's worth noting that letting go of the ego doesn't mean abandoning ambition or responsibility. You can still pursue goals, build meaningful projects, and care for loved ones, all while maintaining a healthy detachment from outcomes. Success becomes sweeter when it's not tied to your sense of self-worth. Failure loses its sting when it's viewed as feedback rather than rejection. This balanced approach allows you to engage fully with life without becoming consumed by it. As we integrate the teachings of non-self into our daily lives, we discover that letting go of the ego isn't about losing something, it's about gaining everything. We reconnect with the vast, luminous awareness that underlies all experience. We find joy in simplicity, beauty in imperfection, and meaning in connection. And we learn to flow with life's currents rather than fighting against them. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore additional practices that deepen this understanding, such as embracing simplicity and cultivating joy. For now, reflect on how the ego influences your thoughts and actions. Notice moments when it tries to assert control, and gently remind yourself of the impermanent, interconnected nature of existence. With patience and persistence, you'll uncover a freedom that transcends the confines of the self. Chapter 8. Finding Joy in Simplicity. In our fast-paced, consumer-driven world, simplicity often feels like a radical act. Yet finding joy in simplicity is one of the most profound and liberating paths we can take. In Buddhism, simplicity, known as santosha or contentment, is not about deprivation or renouncing pleasure. Instead, it's about letting go of unnecessary distractions and focusing on what truly matters. When we embrace simplicity, we create space for clarity, peace, and genuine happiness. Simplicity begins with recognizing the difference between needs and wants. Needs are essential for survival and well-being: food, shelter, love, connection. Wants, on the other hand, are often driven by societal conditioning, advertising, or the ego's desire for validation. While there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting things, unchecked desires can lead to dissatisfaction, stress, and a sense of never having enough. The pursuit of more money, more possessions, more achievements can become a treadmill that leaves us exhausted and unfulfilled. By simplifying our lives, we step off this treadmill and reclaim our time, energy, and attention. Let's explore how simplicity manifests in different areas of life: material possessions, relationships, daily routines, and inner attitudes. Each domain offers opportunities to declutter, prioritize, and cultivate contentment, simplifying material possessions. In many cultures, wealth and success are equated with accumulation. The more we own, the bigger house, the fancier car, the latest gadgets, the more successful we're perceived to be. But this mindset overlooks a crucial truth. True fulfillment doesn't come from external objects. Research consistently shows that beyond a certain threshold, additional income or possessions have diminishing returns on happiness. What sustains joy is how we engage with life, not what we acquire. Minimalism, a lifestyle movement centered on intentional living, aligns closely with Buddhist principles of simplicity. Minimalism isn't about owning as little as possible. It's about curating your environment to reflect what truly adds value to your life. Start by examining your belongings. Ask yourself, does this item serve a purpose? Does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, consider letting it go. Donate clothes you no longer wear, sell unused electronics, and clear out clutter that weighs you down physically and mentally. Decluttering isn't just about tidying up, it's about creating mental and emotional space. When your surroundings are chaotic, your mind tends to mirror that chaos. Conversely, a clean, organized environment fosters calm and focus. Imagine walking into a room where everything has its place, free of unnecessary distractions. How does it feel? Lighter? More peaceful? That's the power of simplicity. Beyond physical clutter, simplicity extends to consumption habits. Before making a purchase, pause and ask, do I really need this? Will it enhance my life in a meaningful way? Often impulse buys stem from temporary cravings rather than lasting needs. By delaying gratification and reflecting on your intentions, you develop discipline and mindfulness around spending. Over time, this practice reduces financial stress and increases gratitude for what you already have, simplifying relationships. Our connections with others are among the most important aspects of life, yet they can also become sources of complexity. Toxic relationships, unresolved conflicts, and excessive social obligations drain our energy and dilute our capacity for meaningful interaction. Simplifying relationships means cultivating quality over quantity, focusing on deep, authentic bonds rather than superficial ones. Start by evaluating your social circle. Who uplifts you? Who challenges you to grow? And who drains you emotionally? It's okay to set boundaries with people who consistently undermine your well-being. This doesn't mean cutting them out entirely, but establishing limits that protect your peace. For example, if a friend constantly vents without taking responsibility for their actions, you might say kindly, I care about you, but I need to take care of myself too. Let's find a way to support each other positively. Simplifying relationships also involves being fully present when interacting with loved ones. Put away your phone during conversations, listen actively, and engage with sincerity. Small gestures, like cooking a meal together, going for a walk, or simply sitting in silence, strengthen bonds far more than grand gestures or frequent but shallow check-ins. Remember, quality trumps quantity every time. Another aspect of simplifying relationships is releasing grudges and resentments. Holding on to past hurts only perpetuates suffering for both parties involved. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. It means freeing yourself from the burden of carrying anger. Practice compassion by acknowledging that everyone makes mistakes and that forgiveness benefits you as much as the other person. Simplifying daily routines. Daily routines shape the rhythm of our lives, yet they often become overloaded with unnecessary tasks and obligations. Simplifying your schedule allows you to focus on activities that nourish your body, mind, and spirit. Begin by identifying priorities. What tasks align with your values and goals? Which ones can be delegated, postponed, or eliminated altogether? For instance, instead of trying to fit 10 errands into a single day, choose 2 or 3 that are most urgent. Leave room for rest, reflection, and spontaneity. Incorporate mindfulness into mundane chores, washing dishes, folding laundry, or sweeping the floor, by treating them as meditative practices. Pay attention to the sensations, movements, and rhythms involved. These moments of presence transform routine tasks into opportunities for grounding and relaxation. Meal planning is another area where simplicity shines. Preparing simple, nutritious meals saves time and reduces decision fatigue. Stock your pantry with staples like whole grains, beans, vegetables, and spices, and experiment with recipes that require minimal ingredients. Eating seasonally and locally not only supports sustainability, but also connects you to the natural cycles of the earth. Digital detoxes play a vital role in simplifying modern life. Technology has revolutionized communication and access to information, but it can also overwhelm us with constant notifications, endless scrolling, and FOMO, fear of missing out. Set boundaries around screen time by designating tech-free zones or hours. Use apps sparingly and intentionally, avoiding aimless browsing. Replace digital entertainment with analog pleasures, reading books, journaling, sketching, or spending time outdoors. Simplifying inner attitudes. While external simplification creates order, internal simplification cultivates peace. Our minds are often crowded with worries, regrets, and expectations, leaving little room for stillness and joy. To simplify your inner landscape, start by observing your thought patterns. Are you dwelling on the past or obsessing about the future? Are you comparing yourself to others or fixating on perfection? These tendencies complicate your mental state and obscure your ability to appreciate the present moment. Mindfulness meditation is a powerful tool for simplifying your inner life. By focusing on the breath or a mantra, you quiet the noise of incessant thinking. Whenever distractions arise, and they will, you gently return to your anchor. This process strengthens your ability to stay centered even amid chaos. Over time, you'll notice that thoughts lose their grip on you. They pass through like clouds drifting across the sky. Gratitude amplifies the benefits of simplicity. Gratefulness shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, reminding you of the richness already present in your life. Keep a gratitude journal, noting 3 things you're thankful for each day. They don't have to be monumental. Perhaps it's the warmth of sunlight on your face, it's a kind word from a stranger, or the smell of fresh coffee brewing. Regularly practicing gratitude rewires your brain to seek positivity and contentment. Another key aspect of inner simplicity is embracing imperfection. Perfectionism stems from the belief that you must meet impossibly high standards to be worthy of love or success. This mindset leads to chronic dissatisfaction and self-criticism. Instead, adopt a growth-oriented perspective. Celebrate effort and progress regardless of outcome. Accept mistakes as valuable learning opportunities rather than failures. As the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi teaches, beauty lies in imperfection and transience. The joy of simplicity. When we strip away excess, we uncover the essence of life, connection, creativity, and presence. Simplicity invites us to savor small pleasures. The aroma of fresh bread baking, the sound of rain tapping against the window, the laughter of children playing nearby. These moments may seem ordinary, but they hold extraordinary depth when experienced mindfully. Simplicity also fosters resilience. By relying less on external comforts and conveniences, we build confidence in our ability to adapt and thrive. Consider camping trips where basic necessities like food, water, and shelter become luxuries, or fasting periods which highlight the body's capacity to endure without constant indulgence. These experiences remind us that happiness isn't contingent on material wealth, it's rooted in perspective and gratitude. Moreover, simplicity contributes to environmental sustainability. Consumerism drives resource depletion, pollution, and climate change. By consuming less, reusing items, and supporting ethical businesses, we reduce our ecological footprint. Living simply isn't just good for us, it's good for the planet. Challenges along the way. Embracing simplicity isn't always easy. Society bombards us with messages that equate worth with productivity, status, and acquisition. Friends or family members might misunderstand your choices, viewing them as ascetic or unconventional. Internal resistance can also arise. You might crave the novelty of new purchases or fear judgment for deviating from norms. To overcome these challenges, remind yourself why you're pursuing simplicity. Reflect on the benefits you've experienced so far: greater clarity, reduced stress, deeper connections. Surround yourself with supportive communities, whether online or offline, that share your values. Draw inspiration from figures who embody simplicity, such as Thoreau, Gandhi, or contemporary minimalists. Their stories demonstrate that living lightly enriches life rather than diminishes it. Conclusion: rediscovering abundance through simplicity. Finding joy in simplicity is a journey of discovery, a process of peeling back layers to reveal the core of what truly matters. It's not about rejecting modern conveniences or denying legitimate desires. Rather, it's about discerning what enhances your well-being and letting go of what detracts from it. As we integrate simplicity into our lives, we awaken to the abundance that already exists within and around us. We learn to cherish moments of quiet, nurture relationships with intention, and celebrate the elegance of nature. We realize that happiness isn't something to chase, it's something to cultivate, moment by mindful moment. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore how to apply these principles in overcoming fear and anxiety, further empowering you to live authentically and peacefully. For now, carry the spirit of simplicity forward. Notice where complexity creeps into your life and gently invite simplicity to take its place. With each step, you'll move closer to a life of joy, purpose, and profound fulfillment. Chapter 9. Overcoming Fear and Anxiety. Fear and anxiety are universal human experiences, yet they often feel isolating and overwhelming. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty about the future, these emotions can hijack our thoughts, disrupt our lives, and prevent us from living fully. In this chapter, we'll explore how Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness offer practical tools for understanding and overcoming fear and anxiety. By shining a light on their roots and learning to relate to them differently, we can reclaim our peace of mind and step into a life of greater courage and clarity. Fear and anxiety arise naturally as part of the human condition. Evolutionarily speaking, fear served as a survival mechanism, alerting our ancestors to danger and prompting them to flee or fight. However, in modern life, much of what triggers fear is psychological rather than physical. Worries about finances, health, relationships, or self-worth. While these concerns are valid, they often spiral out of proportion, leading to chronic stress and emotional exhaustion. The key to overcoming fear lies not in eliminating it entirely, but in transforming our relationship with it. To begin, let's examine the nature of fear and anxiety. Fear is typically a response to an immediate threat. A snake crossing your path, a car swerving toward you, or a sudden loud noise. It activates the body's fight or flight response, flooding the system with adrenaline and cortisol to prepare for action. Anxiety, on the other hand, is more diffuse and prolonged. It involves worrying about potential threats that may or may not materialize, such as imagining worst-case scenarios or ruminating over past mistakes. Both fear and anxiety originate in the brain's amygdala, which scans for danger and signals the rest of the body to respond. While this process evolved to protect us, it can become maladaptive when triggered excessively or unnecessarily. One of the most powerful insights from Buddhism is that fear and anxiety are not inherent truths. They're mental constructs shaped by perception. When we believe our thoughts without questioning them, we give fear undue power. For example, if you think, "I'll never succeed," your mind treats this as fact, triggering feelings of inadequacy and dread. But what if you pause to examine that thought? Is it really true? Or is it just a story your mind has created? By investigating the origins of fear and challenging its validity, you weaken its grip on your psyche. Mindfulness is a cornerstone of working with fear and anxiety. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. Instead of saying, "I am afraid," we note, "Fear is present." This subtle shift creates distance, allowing us to witness fear objectively rather than being consumed by it. Imagine sitting beside a riverbank, watching leaves float downstream. Similarly, during mindfulness practice, you observe fear as it arises, stays for a while, and eventually dissolves. You don't try to push it away or cling to it, you simply acknowledge its presence and let it pass. Another effective technique for managing fear is breath awareness. The breath is a direct link between the body and mind, and regulating it can calm the nervous system. When fear strikes, our breathing often becomes shallow and rapid, exacerbating feelings of panic. By consciously slowing and deepening your breath, you signal to your brain that you're safe, reducing the intensity of the fear response. Try this simple exercise. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, hold the breath for 4 counts, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. Repeat several times, focusing solely on the rhythm of your breath. Notice how your body begins to relax and your mind grows quieter. Meditation also plays a crucial role in overcoming fear and anxiety. During meditation, you create a space to confront fear head-on rather than avoiding it. Many people instinctively distract themselves from uncomfortable emotions, turning to work, entertainment, or substances to numb the pain. While these strategies provide temporary relief, they ultimately reinforce fear by teaching the mind that it's unsafe to face difficult feelings. Meditation encourages the opposite approach, leaning into discomfort with curiosity and compassion. For instance, during a meditation session, if fear arises, resist the urge to escape it. Instead, invite it closer. Ask yourself, where do I feel this fear in my body? What sensations accompany it? Tightness in the chest, knots in the stomach, trembling hands. By locating fear physically, you ground it in reality, making it less abstract and overwhelming. Then, extend kindness to yourself, recognizing that fear is a natural part of being human. You might silently repeat phrases like, "May I be at ease with this fear? May I find peace despite this fear?" Over time, this practice builds resilience, enabling you to navigate fear with grace and equanimity. Loving-kindness meditation. Metta is particularly helpful for counteracting fear and anxiety. Fear often stems from a sense of separation, from others, from the world, or even from ourselves. Loving-kindness meditation bridges this divide by cultivating warmth and connection. Begin by directing loving-kindness toward yourself, repeating phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be safe, may I live with ease." Once you've generated a sense of care for yourself, expand your focus to include loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and eventually even those who cause you difficulty. Visualize each person surrounded by light, wishing them well-being and freedom from suffering. This practice softens the heart, dissolving barriers of distrust and isolation that fuel fear. Another Buddhist teaching that addresses fear is impermanence. Fear thrives on the illusion of permanence, the belief that painful situations will last forever or that happiness is fleeting. By embracing impermanence, we remind ourselves that all things change, including our emotions. Even the most intense fear eventually subsides, giving way to calm or joy. When you're caught in the grip of anxiety, whisper to yourself, "This too shall pass." These words serve as a lifeline, anchoring you in the knowledge that fear is transient, not eternal. The concept of non-self also offers profound relief from fear. Much of our fear revolves around protecting the ego, the constructed identity we believe defines us. We fear losing our jobs because it threatens our sense of competence. We fear rejection because it challenges our need for approval. By letting go of attachment to the ego, we loosen fear's stranglehold. Non-self reminds us that we are not our roles, achievements, or possessions. Our essence transcends these labels, existing in the vast, luminous awareness that underlies all experience. When we align with this deeper truth, fear loses its power to define us. In addition to internal practices, external actions can support the process of overcoming fear. One such action is setting boundaries. Fear often arises when we feel overwhelmed or powerless. Establishing clear limits protects your energy and restores a sense of agency. For example, if social gatherings trigger anxiety, politely decline invitations when you need downtime. If certain conversations stir fear, communicate your needs assertively. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-care that reinforces stability and confidence. Gratitude is another powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, reminding you of the resources and strengths you already possess. Before bed each night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental: a supportive friend, a cozy blanket, or a beautiful sunset. Regularly practicing gratitude trains your brain to seek positivity, reducing the frequency and intensity of fearful thoughts. Physical movement is another ally in combating fear and anxiety. Exercise releases endorphins, which elevate mood and reduce stress. Activities like yoga, tai chi, or walking in nature combine movement with mindfulness, amplifying their calming effects. During physical activity, pay attention to the sensations in your body, the stretch of muscles, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the flow of air in your lungs. This embodied awareness anchors you in the present moment, quieting anxious thoughts. Creative expression can also help channel fear into something constructive. Writing, painting, dancing, or playing music allows you to externalize emotions, giving them form and releasing their hold on you. Journaling, in particular, is a therapeutic tool for processing fear. Write freely without censoring yourself, exploring the roots of your anxiety and brainstorming solutions. Often putting thoughts on paper diminishes their intensity, offering clarity and perspective. Community support is invaluable in overcoming fear and anxiety. Sharing your struggles with trusted friends, family members, or therapists provides relief and validation. Group settings such as meditation classes or support groups foster connection and solidarity. Knowing you're not alone in your fears diminishes their weight, empowering you to face them together. It's important to recognize that fear serves a purpose. It alerts us to areas where growth is needed. Rather than viewing fear as an enemy, see it as a teacher. What lessons is it trying to impart? Perhaps it's urging you to develop new skills, confront unresolved issues, or expand your comfort zone. By reframing fear as a guide rather than a barrier, you transform it from a source of suffering into a catalyst for transformation. Finally, remember that overcoming fear and anxiety is a gradual process. There will be setbacks along the way, moments when old fears resurface or new anxieties emerge. Be patient with yourself, celebrating small victories and learning from challenges. Each step forward strengthens your capacity to meet fear with wisdom and compassion. As we conclude this chapter, carry these practices into your daily life. Use mindfulness to observe fear without judgment, meditation to sit with it courageously, and gratitude to reframe your perspective. Lean on community for support and embrace creativity as a means of expression. Above all, trust in your ability to navigate fear and emerge stronger on the other side. In the final chapter, we'll bring everything together, integrating the teachings of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness into a cohesive framework for living authentically and joyfully. Until then, take a deep breath, acknowledge any fears lingering within you, and remind yourself that you have the tools to overcome them. Chapter 10. Integrating these practices into your life. Over the past 9 chapters, we've explored the profound teachings of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, uncovering tools to master your thoughts, cultivate compassion, embrace simplicity, and overcome fear. Now, as we reach the final chapter, it's time to focus on integration, the art of weaving these practices into the fabric of your daily life. Integration is where theory meets action, where insights transform into habits, and where personal growth becomes sustainable. This process isn't about perfection or achieving some lofty ideal. It's about making small, consistent changes that align with your values and enhance your well-being. Let's begin by addressing a common challenge. How do you maintain consistency when life gets busy? It's easy to feel inspired after learning new concepts, but sustaining motivation over time requires intentionality. The key is to start small and build incrementally. Think of integrating mindfulness and Buddhist principles like tending to a garden. You wouldn't expect flowers to bloom overnight. You water the soil, remove weeds, and nurture the plants patiently. Similarly, cultivating a mindful life takes care, commitment, and trust in the process. One of the most effective strategies for integration is creating rituals. Rituals are structured routines that anchor your practice in everyday life. They provide stability and serve as reminders to stay present. For example, you might dedicate the first 10 minutes of your morning to mindfulness meditation. Sit quietly, focusing on your breath or repeating affirmations of gratitude. This sets a positive tone for the day, grounding you in awareness before distractions take hold. Alternatively, you could establish an evening ritual, reflecting on the day's events, expressing gratitude, and releasing any lingering tension through gentle stretches or journaling. Rituals act as touchpoints, ensuring that mindfulness remains a priority even during hectic times. Another powerful approach is habit stacking, a technique that involves attaching new behaviors to existing ones. For instance, if you already brush your teeth every morning, use those 2 minutes to practice mindful breathing. Feel the sensation of the toothbrush against your gums, the taste of the toothpaste, and the rhythm of your hand movements. By layering mindfulness onto familiar activities, you reinforce its presence without adding extra tasks to your schedule. Habit stacking works because it leverages the neural pathways associated with established routines, making it easier to adopt new habits seamlessly. Mindful transitions are another way to integrate these practices throughout your day. Life is full of transitions: waking up, commuting, starting work, eating meals, and winding down at night. Each transition offers an opportunity to pause and reset. Before beginning a task, take 3 deep breaths, centering yourself in the present moment. As you move from one activity to the next, ask yourself, what's my intention here? How can I bring mindfulness to this experience? These micro moments of awareness accumulate, transforming ordinary moments into opportunities for presence and connection. To deepen your practice, consider incorporating mindfulness into specific domains of your life. Let's explore how you can apply these teachings to relationships, work, health, and leisure. Mindfulness in relationships. Relationships thrive on presence. When you show up fully for others, you create space for authentic connection. Start by listening mindfully. Instead of planning your response while someone is speaking, give them your undivided attention. Notice their tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. Validate their feelings by saying things like, "That sounds really challenging," or "I appreciate you sharing this with me." Mindful listening fosters empathy and strengthens bonds. Setting boundaries mindfully is equally important. Healthy relationships require clear communication about needs and limits. Express your boundaries kindly but firmly, ensuring they reflect self-respect rather than resentment. For example, if you need alone time after a stressful day, let your partner know gently, "I've had a long day and would love some quiet time to recharge." By articulating your needs mindfully, you strengthen mutual understanding and respect. Finally, practice gratitude in your relationships. Regularly acknowledge the contributions of loved ones, celebrating their strengths and qualities. A simple thank you or heartfelt compliment goes a long way in nurturing appreciation and harmony. And mindfulness at work. The workplace is often a source of stress, but mindfulness can help create a calmer, more productive environment. Begin each day by setting intentions. Ask yourself, what matters most today? What can wait? Prioritizing tasks reduces overwhelm and keeps you focused on what truly counts. Throughout the day, incorporate mini meditations to reset your mind. For example, before transitioning between meetings or projects, close your eyes and take 3 deliberate breaths. Use this time to check in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? Do I need a break? These brief pauses prevent burnout and enhance mental clarity. Mindfulness also improves decision-making. When faced with challenges, resist the impulse to react impulsively. Instead, pause and observe your thoughts and emotions. Are they clouding your judgment? By stepping back, you gain perspective, enabling you to respond wisely rather than rashly. Additionally, fostering a culture of mindfulness within teams through group meditations, mindful meetings, or open dialogue boosts collaboration and morale. Mindfulness for health and well-being. Your physical health is deeply intertwined with your mental and emotional states. Mindful eating, movement, and rest are essential components of holistic well-being. When it comes to eating, slow down and savor each bite. Pay attention to the colors, textures, aromas, and flavors. Chew thoroughly, noticing how the taste evolves with each chew. Observe the sensations in your body as hunger transforms into satiety. Mindful eating not only enhances enjoyment but also supports digestion and prevents overeating. Movement is another avenue for mindfulness. Whether it's yoga, tai chi, or simply walking, tune into your body's sensations. Feel the muscles stretching, the heartbeat quickening, and the breath flowing steadily. Physical activity combined with mindfulness releases endorphins, reducing stress and boosting mood. Rest is equally vital. In our fast-paced world, rest is often viewed as laziness, but it's actually a form of self-care. Practice mindful relaxation by lying down, closing your eyes, and scanning your body from head to toe. Release tension in each area, inviting calmness to spread throughout your being. Naps, baths, and quiet reading sessions are all opportunities to recharge mindfully. Mindfulness in leisure and creativity. Leisure activities offer fertile ground for mindfulness. Instead of zoning out during hobbies, engage fully with the experience. If you enjoy painting, immerse yourself in the colors and brushstrokes. If you play music, listen intently to the notes and rhythms. Creative expression allows you to channel emotions constructively, turning fear, anger, or sadness into something beautiful. Nature is another powerful ally in cultivating mindfulness. Spend time outdoors, whether it's hiking in the woods, gardening, or sitting under a tree. Engage all your senses. Notice the scent of pine needles, the sound of bird song, or the warmth of sunlight on your skin. Nature reminds us of impermanence and interconnectedness, fostering awe and gratitude. Building resilience. Through consistency. Consistency is the cornerstone of integration. Small daily actions compound over time, creating lasting change. To stay consistent, set realistic goals and celebrate progress along the way. For example, commit to meditating for 5 minutes each day rather than aiming for an hour. Gradually increase the duration as the habit solidifies. Track your efforts using a journal or app, noting improvements in mood, focus, and overall well-being. Accountability also plays a crucial role. Share your journey with a friend or join a community focused on mindfulness or personal growth. Having a supportive network reinforces commitment and provides encouragement during challenging times. Self-compassion is essential for maintaining consistency. There will be days when you miss a session or fall back into old patterns. That's okay. Treat yourself with kindness, recognizing that setbacks are part of the process. Instead of criticizing yourself, reflect on what led to the lapse and adjust accordingly. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Embracing challenges as opportunities. Life inevitably presents obstacles, but mindfulness equips you to navigate them with greater resilience. When confronted with stress, anger, or sadness, mindfulness teaches you to acknowledge these emotions without suppressing or amplifying. Rather than identifying with the emotion, "I am angry," view it objectively. Anger is present. This subtle shift creates distance, giving you the space to respond skillfully. One effective technique for managing challenging emotions is the stop method. Stop, take a breath, observe, proceed. When you feel triggered, pause momentarily. Take a slow, deep breath, filling your lungs completely before exhaling. Observe what's happening internally, your thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, Finally, proceed with intention, choosing a course of action that aligns with your values. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic and running late for an appointment. Frustration might bubble up, tempting you to honk or curse under your breath. Using the stop method, you pause, breathe, and notice the tension in your shoulders or the racing thoughts in your mind. You then remind yourself the traffic is beyond your control and decide to use the extra time to mentally prepare for the meeting or listen to calming music. This approach diffuses tension and restores calm. Living authentically and joyfully. Ultimately, integrating mindfulness and Buddhist principles is about living authentically and joyfully. Authenticity means staying true to your values, even when it's uncomfortable. It means embracing vulnerability, taking risks, and honoring your unique path. Joy arises naturally when you align with your essence, the part of you that exists beyond labels and roles. Gratitude amplifies this alignment. Regularly practicing gratitude rewires your brain to seek positivity, reducing the frequency and intensity of negative thoughts. Keep a gratitude journal, noting 3 things you're thankful for each day. Over time, this practice cultivates a mindset of abundance and contentment. Compassion extends this joy outward. When you extend kindness to yourself and others, you contribute to a ripple effect of positivity. Acts of service, no matter how small, have the power to inspire similar behaviors in others. Together we can create a world where compassion thrives, nurturing both individual and collective well-being. Conclusion: a lifelong journey. Integrating mindfulness and Buddhist teachings into your life isn't a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Every breath, every interaction, and every choice offers a chance to wake up to the miracle of being alive. By embracing mindfulness, you enrich not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. As we conclude this video, remember that the tools you've learned are always available to you. Whether it's mindfulness meditation, loving kindness practice, or simply pausing to breathe, these techniques empower you to navigate life with greater ease and purpose. Trust in your ability to grow, adapt, and thrive. With patience and persistence, you'll uncover a freedom that transcends the confines of fear, ego, and attachment. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. May your days ahead be filled with peace, clarity, and joy. And so we arrive at the end of our journey together, a journey through Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, exploring how these timeless teachings can help us master our thoughts, embrace impermanence, cultivate compassion, and live with greater peace and purpose. As I reflect on all we've covered, I'm reminded of how interconnected these practices are. They aren't isolated tools to be picked up and set aside. They're threads woven into a tapestry of wisdom that supports every aspect of our lives. This video wasn't just about learning concepts, it was about experiencing transformation. Each chapter offered insights and actionable steps designed to meet you where you are, whether you're new to these ideas or deepening an existing practice. My hope is that you leave today feeling inspired, equipped, and empowered to create positive change in your life. Remember, the journey inward never truly ends. Every day presents fresh opportunities to connect with yourself and the world around you. Whether it's pausing to breathe during a hectic moment, savoring the taste of your morning coffee, or extending kindness to someone in need, mindfulness invites you to wake up to the richness of the present moment. These small acts may seem insignificant, but their cumulative effect is profound. Over time, they reshape your mindset, relationships, and overall well-being. One of the most beautiful aspects of this path is its accessibility. You don't need special equipment, expensive retreats, or years of study to begin. All you need is a willingness to show up again and again and meet yourself with curiosity and compassion. Sometimes progress feels slow, almost imperceptible, but trust me, even the tiniest shifts ripple outward. influencing not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. As you move forward, keep in mind that consistency matters more than intensity. It's better to meditate for 5 minutes daily than for an hour once a month. It's more impactful to listen deeply in one conversation than to multitask through 10. Small, deliberate actions compound over time, creating lasting change. So start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I'd like to leave you with a simple yet powerful reminder. You are enough, just as you are. In a world that often tells us we need to be more, do more, or have more, this truth can feel radical, but it's true nonetheless. You don't need to achieve perfection or prove your worth to anyone, including yourself. Your presence, your effort, your authenticity are gifts to the world. By embracing who you are and committing to growth, you contribute to a collective awakening that benefits us all. Before we part ways, take a moment to honor the commitment you've made to yourself by engaging with this content. Learning is an act of courage, and applying what you've learned takes even greater bravery. Celebrate your willingness to explore, question, and evolve. And if there are moments when doubt creeps in or motivation wanes, return to the basics. Breathe, ground yourself, trust the process. Thank you for being here, for showing up fully, for leaning into discomfort, and for choosing to invest in your well-being. This isn't just about personal growth, it's about collective healing. The more mindful and compassionate we become, the more we inspire others to do the same. Together we create a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond ourselves. If anything resonated with you today, or if you have questions, reflections, or experiences to share, I encourage you to engage further. Join communities, read books, attend workshops, or simply continue practicing on your own. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a vast network of people walking similar paths, eager to support and learn from one another. Finally, let's carry the spirit of mindfulness forward. Not just into tomorrow, but into every moment we're given. Life is fleeting, precious, and unpredictable. Let's cherish it fully, living with intention, gratitude, and joy. Until next time, take care and keep breathing. May your days ahead be filled with light, love, and limitless possibility. Namaste.